think this hacker at least
what if there's a way to
lost
save
$100
that
to
recording?
$200 million
Talk about crypto.com,
with these actions.
everything that's happening.
Out of
today.
200, out of how much? How much was hacked?
After this, I'm gonna see if it
I
lets
think
me
he took
withdraw
about
from my
600.
He lost
crypto.com
200.
Something to
account.
break in here.
There we fucking go.
Sorry
I
about
told
that.
you. I told you it's gonna happen.
So we were talking about yesterday about seeing the massive amounts of transactions moving over to exchanges. Well, $600 million of ETH has moved into Coinbase deposits as of about.
How you accidentally send $1 billion?
About 46 minutes or so ago by
On
46
accident.
minutes ago?
State Layer,
That's
State
that's
Layer on
new.
Twitter. He posted
But what's
a
crazy is
screen cap of
you
the
need
transaction
other
that
people to
happened.
sign off on that.
So
Like
that
on
could
the
be
smart contracts.
another sign of some more.
You need like 4 to 6
Ethereum
people
about
to sign
to
off. So
public
4 to
So
6
say that
people
again,
accidentally
please.
signed off.
Can you repeat it again?
It depends on how they
Crypto.com.
$600 million of ETH has been moved into Coinbase deposits.
Oh, okay.
And that was one transaction. No matter
That's
how-
unrelated to the hack. That's just separately money flowing into Coinbase, correct?
Shit's crazy.
That's
Oh,
correct.
okay. So it shows significant selling pressure on the markets, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Exactly.
Right. So I'll let Cam take the stage. I've just swapped the phone, so this phone is working. And I'm gonna send you through more reports I'm getting Chet to validate. Just fucking mental. But Cam, go ahead, bro.
Hey, thanks, Mario.
We're listening to this live.
Have worked in the House of Representatives for about 2.5 years now.
People need to
And,
go back and listen to the beginning.
You know,
of
just
it
kind of
too,
from,
8
you know,
hours
not...
ago.
It's
I
like
can only
9
speak
hours
in my
long. I'll
personal
post the
capacity,
rest of
but
it later.
Just a couple observations, whether totally coincidental or not, is
It's a lot
that
to listen
FTX
to,
really
but it's
did
definitely
rise
necessary.
after the 2020 election. And Sam Bankman-Fried, behind George Soros, is the number one donor to the Democratic Party. And,
Wow.
you know, coincidentally,
Real funny.
on election night is
The
when
U.S. want to put so many sanctions on it.
when everything went down with the collapse of FTX. So, you
Then
know,
this starts happening.
there's going to be a lot of pressure to hold oversight hearings on FTX.
You know how much easier it's going to be
you
to
know, if the
convince
House
people we
does
need
flip,
regulation now.
I'm sure some other exchanges are going to be
Some
pulled
people
into that.
look regulation.
So, you know, that's
For
kind of
this
number
reason.
one. And then number two, you know, insider trading has been a big controversy
A lot of
in
insider trading
Congress
going on.
and among the House and senior staff. Due to the disclosures I've been seeing, Republican members of Congress
Nothing but
have
insider
disclosed
trading.
holding more cryptocurrency, whereas the Democrats in Congress have disclosed holding more companies that invest in cryptocurrency. So it's going to be something that's not going away. You know, it is going to turn a bit partisan just based on the Sam Bankman-Fried's connections to the Democratic Party. But, you know, like everybody's saying, I mean, if the ones that are honest with their business, that have one-to-one backing, they should have nothing to hide. And, you know, we hope that, I mean, personally, I hope that the exchanges, the centralized exchanges, will work with us on proper regulation. And, you know, anybody
What
who
is
wants
proper
to,
regulation?
you know, chat, feel free to reach out. But something that I would very adamantly oppose
This
is,
cat. There's a whole lot of crooks
you know,
in
in
here.
any way regulating DeFi.
Get down.
But especially with this, there's going to be some pressure there. I hope this
We'll let
helps
these
it.
nerds get all this money and this
You
power.
expect it to
And
get really
Man,
ugly for crypto
I
in
don't
the next
even
few
blame
months in
them.
terms of regulatory crackdown, yes?
They're using that shit like it's their bank account.
Yeah, I would think it's going to get ugly because just the nuance gets lost on the Hill so much of the time. And really the bad
They
actors
just
here
keep pumping
were
out
the
news for
exchanges.
every day. And something
with
new, something
FTX.
new. So you're not too worried or
And
thinking
I
about
think
it.
that nuance, though,
And in
is
the
going to get
background,
lost,
they're
and a
just
lot of people might not
accidentally
see
sending billions of dollars to
dividing
each
line.
other.
This is my concern, and this is my I'm speaking to people, and I've been asked for a few interviews since the space, and I get questions for the interviews. Is like,
And
The
don't get it
questions
twisted.
show that
A lot of people making money still.
the retail market
Especially
still
if you
doesn't
know how to
understand
swing
the
trade.
difference between centralized and DeFi.
They're
So
making
they're
money
like,
on
hey,
these
after FTX
down
collapsed,
markets.
what do you expect to happen to other DeFi platforms? No fucking joke. I get questions
Shorting
like this
like
today.
Crazy.
So it just shows how, and that's what
I
concerns
don't
me.
know how to
Shows
day
the
trade
ignorance
short or long.
of the retail market,
I
and
buy
they
the
haven't
coins
spent
low,
the time
and I'm
understanding
hoping
DeFi.
in a
You've got
couple
people
years
in
they're worth
crypto
more money.
that still
Like most of you.
don't understand how to define NFTs. And that's I'm talking about
It's the
people that are
ones like us
influencers in the
that
space that have a
still
PFP of an
learning
NFT,
that's
just like I
really
do,
gonna take
that
that
can't
hit.
define what NFTs are. So that, for me, the lack of education, along with how
I'm gonna go ahead and
nasty
take
this
my
got,
money out.
concerns me about
Crypto.com in a
what's
minute
to
here. I'll
come.
show you guys.
Yeah,
At least half of it
1,000%.
out.
And I hope that, you know, we can work
Let's see what
together
happens.
and come up
I'll
with
leave
a way
1,000 in there.
to,
Let's see what
you know,
happens.
educate members of Congress and staff on those kind of
Chronos is
distinctions.
down like
because,
25%. I'm gonna throw it in there.
you know, freedom-loving people that also believe in financial freedom. The last thing we want to see is regulation on DeFi. But I have heard some good ideas here on how we might better regulate the platform so that FTX.
Like, man, join the space. Don't just follow.
But on top of that, about
These guys are live for 9
Caroline
hours.
in Dubai, Cointelegraph reported that there is
I'm gonna
the
screen
US
record me
and
getting
the
my money
United
out of
States
there. We'll
have
see
an
if it
agreement on
tells
evidence
me.
sharing,
Some people are saying it's telling them
judicial
3 days,
cooperation,
24
and
hours.
assistance in
I moved like
criminal
500 out
investigations
earlier
and
to my
prosecution. So as a result,
debit card on
U.S.-based fugitives
Crypto.com,
attempting to move
and I shot down to the gas
Dubai,
station. I took
will
out
most
400
likely
real quick,
be
so it let me
detained
do
and
that.
sent back to the United States. So
We'll see
if
where
she
we're
thought
at in
that
a
was a
minute.
safe zone, of course there was also
No,
reports
she's
that other
trying.
members of
She's
I don't
trying
wanna
to
miss
get
any
out
of
of.
this.
She's trying to get out of the country. From what I've heard, she might even be already on a private jet. By the way, do you know that in terms of Sam getting arrested, does anyone know or
down.
do we have any reports?
They got him
About,
running. The guy from
About
FTX.
an
Whether he was
official
trying to
arrest, no, we have no official reports on
There
the
is.
actual
I
arrest.
think there is. I
So
think
he
there's an
flew out a
official
private
report
jet from the
that
Bahamas.
he's under supervision, which is arrest.
He's under supervision, and the Bohemian Regulatory Commission,
Oh, I think
after
they got
first
his
of all
ass.
stating that they, and for all of you as a refresher, if you did not know this news, the Bohemian regulators said that FTX was not permitted to be moving withdrawals to Bohemian citizens as FTX had reported prior. And as soon as they had also stated that news, they later then came out with an update saying they were now investigating FTX for criminal conduct, which most likely means that they're going to prosecute them for moving those funds when they were not allowed to.
I'm glad to hear. Rob Fidgetal, go ahead, guys.
Extradition rule change when you file a complaint in an unincorporated jurisdiction. So the Bahamas will not be actually prosecuting. They prosecute it so that it can be extradited.
Okay. Who's gonna prosecute him then?
Well, this would be in direct relation, visual to the violations of Bohemian law, not United States law. This is an entirely different situation.
Again, you file a charge against somebody in your own law so that there is a basis for extradition for jurisdiction purposes if there's no mutual corresponding jurisdictional basis otherwise. So watch, I'll give it 14 to 16 hours.
Rob, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Mario.
Oh my God.
Alex.
Non-stop. This
you
ain't
had some
fun.
good context,
These
but
are
also
facts coming
it's
out
just
non-stop.
again, I want to push this narrative that like,
left and right.
we're focused so heavily on Sam when in reality, I think there's a lot more attention that needs to be placed to their head of compliance being Dan Friedberg. I mean, it's their head of compliance, so it's the person that's supposed to be making sure that they are compliant. And two, I mean, I don't understand how he was ever allowed to even work at this institution. How someone with a criminal past can actually be the head of compliance for a financial institution that involves billions of dollars, because there is a history with Dan Friedberg of running an online
That's
betting
why a lot of
site
people like
that stole
B&B,
$2
the
million
Beyonce
direct
network.
and allowed
Because
an
anybody
effect
can put a
of over
project
$20
on there. You got
million
20 grand? Pay them 20
and other
grand.
high-stake
They'll let
poker
you make a
players
coin,
that-
make a
that
dex,
played
do whatever
games
you
on
want.
Ultimate Bet.
Let's
And
bet
so
even.
for this to be such a
Should've
big
made us a
aspect
coin.
of what could have possibly happened, especially because
I just did it
he
right.
was also quoted in a taped conversation
But now I want to make a
telling
coin.
one of
Ain't
his
nobody
partners
gonna
that
let
the
me. They
best
ain't gonna
strategy
trust
for
me.
dealing with
the explosive
Because of these
scandal
nerds.
was to declare that a former consultant to the company took advantage of a server flaw by hacking into the software client. And if that's not the same thing that we're being
And watch
told in some
Crypto.com
context,
say
I
somebody
just think
hacked
it's
in
absurd.
next. Watch. There's gonna be somebody put a back wall.
And I'm getting reports,
watch.
chat, that I'm
FTX
sending
said
your
that
way.
somebody
All these
hacked them and
conspiracy
they had
theories that me and you try to shut
malware
down
and
and try
they
to
had a back door in.
respectfully move on from.
I bet the same guy that did their shit
There
did
is
theirs.
an investigative journalist that wants to come on, a respected one, to share, I quote,
Let's see what they're gonna say.
actually I won't quote them till we verify them, but very shady stuff that's a lot deeper than, that includes
We're going down the rabbit hole, guys.
big events
It's
completely outside
serious.
of crypto, and that includes obviously FTX. So yeah, the plot thickens massively. To give you an idea how the plot thickens, guys, before I go to Umbrella, just to remind anyone that doesn't know or wasn't there in yesterday's space. So when all this started, I made a tweet when we had an executive. I've said the story a few times. I'll say it again for anyone that hasn't heard it. When it started, we had an executive from one of the top exchanges come in. Not an executive, a person that works there. I'm trying not to mention her identity anymore. Excuse me. And she was sharing a story about how Sam led to the Luna collapse. Alameda, Sam, FTX, not sure who's calling the shots. And, a few insiders were pretty upset. And then Sam strong-armed Jusu, how do you say his name? 3 Hours Capital, Jusu.
Yeah, they're saying that FTX got
Jusu.
a sex
So
ring
strong-armed,
going on,
3 Hours Capital, that
blackmail.
led
There's some
to their
crazy
collapse.
shit going on over there.
And
And now
CZ wasn't
Crypto.com.
happy. I should have asked him this question when he was on stage. But CZ wasn't
While they're
happy
trying to
with
regulate.
what happened. And 3 Hours Capital, when we were doubting this story, and 3 Hours Capital a day later retweeted my tweet, and he's been in the space for hours. I don't know if he's still there now, listening for hours, for like 5-6 hours. He's sitting there listening today.
And elections are coming up over here in the U.S. Watch everybody use this to run.
Sam,
we're going to do this.
playing
We're
a
going
key
to
role,
fix
Alameda playing a
this.
key role in the collapse of 3 Hours Capital. And then the story continues where CZ kept warning Sam
See who's
about
going to be running
about his
off
conduct,
this.
and he knew that some shady stuff is going on.
Always some shady stuff
And
going on.
eventually, Sam ignored him, and CZ made the
You
tweet.
still make
that
some
led
money,
to
even though
where
there's
we-
some
not
shady
that
shit
led,
going
but
on. You
that
just got to be
triggered,
shady too.
the dominoes, and then FTX collapsed hours later, and the rest is
Get
history.
in, get out.
So what started as a little conspiracy theory, and it took me a while to validate the story and validate the person before tweeting
You
it.
hear them talk
Obviously,
about
it turned out to be not as
hold?
inaccurate as I
Nah.
thought. It seems that a lot of
They
the
need
crazy
exit
stories we're
liquidity.
getting now, we're
That's
more
diamond
open
hands.
to sharing them, more
That's
open
what they
to
call
discussing
diamond
them.
hands.
Because
People who
day
hold
after day
on.
we're just seeing those fucking
Exit
crazy
liquidity.
stories that we call conspiracy theories, and I hate conspiracy theories, turn out to materialize. Which goes back
these
to
are
the question, and we've
centralized.
asked some of the biggest
But even
names
their
in the space that same
decentralized
question.
platforms, like,
And Umbrella, maybe you
it's
can
happening
take that
everywhere.
question and then make your point is, how the fuck did we let it get to that stage? And Elon Musk mentioned in the show the same thing that the Kraken City founders, Jesse, mentioned in this show, the same as the who else mentioned that? A bunch of people that you all know mentioned the same fucking thing. Sam, their bullshit alarm rang when they dealt with Sam. They've got a lot of questions about their conduct. Yet, we kept going down that path, and Gaurav kind of confirmed what I said, is that it just became a normal way of doing business. And crypto, and a lot of you in the audience don't know
like
what
a
happens
movie.
behind the
It's
scenes.
not
Like we
even-
invest
it's not even-
in over 150 projects. Like exchanges dumping
Like,
tokens.
you can't
It's part of
just-
business. It's been part of business for
come
months.
up with this.
Yeah, this shit is
This is
illegal.
crazy.
And there's just so much
Highly
shit
fucking illegal.
that we just brushed under the
They
rug
gotta
because
make a
everything was
movie
blowing
about
up
this.
and
I've
everything
been here
was
the whole
just fucking
time
sexy.
too. I made some money,
and
but
pretty
right
money.
now,
And here we are. So I just
it's
don't know
not
how
looking
deep
good.
this goes. I don't know how many dominoes will fall. And anyone that has reports, if you want to
Dominoes
come
are
up
falling.
anonymously, or you want to share your report anonymously or come up on stage, do DM me. My team is checking and has been for the last whatever
We should
hours.
get up on
30, 40
stage and
hours
talk to
non-stop.
them.
Got team
They've
members
been going
checking the
for like
DMs and we
10
can
hours
bring you up on
live.
stage. If you can offer evidence, it's preferable. But I'll go to Umbrella after this, and I'll go to Rob, Fidgetal,
gotta
and
hear
Uriel.
this.
Go ahead, Umbrella.
wow.
It's simple. We greedy crypto degenerates. It's as simple as that.
We're greedy, greedy.
We got greedy people making money off FTX both ways. When I saw it on crypto Twitter, promoting
Both
it
ways.
still.
I don't know how to
Still
short
using
and long.
FTX,
I'd be making me some money right now too.
referrals. Big Twitter accounts that even
I did
with
pull my money though.
anti-scam
Holding it in my
Twitter
fiat
accounts.
wallet.
We're using
Wait until it
FTX
hits
referrals.
bottom, then I'm gonna throw it in
And why?
some
Because they're
Poly
making money off it.
and Chronos.
So
It might be a bad idea, but I'm gonna do it for you guys. We'll see what happens.
When
See if
I've
they
been
lock
dealing
us
with
in.
regulators, a lot of them
And then,
say
if
they've
you're-
got very good,
Hold on,
you
I'll
know,
tell you.
KYC, AML regulations in the crypto industry. And what they don't have currently is no prudential regulations. So no checks and balances like they do with banks and traditional finance. Are you kind of seeing it the same on your side, that you're seeing it the same? AML, KYC is good, but now more prudential regulations going to come.
Guys, if you don't see me unmute, you can jump in and answer questions. Or sometimes I'm inviting people.
I think Cam left the stage, by the way, Umbrella, so unfortunately he can't speak to that.
Who was he asking?
I think he was asking Cam, the guy that works for
any of you guys familiar with the Crypto.com app?
I don't think Cam is on stage.
When you buy and sell, you're going to get points for the missions. And you can use your points to buy mystery boxes or NFTs or jerseys or tickets. So I moved about $10,000 through there, and I stacked up some points. I was saving them, but at this point, I think I'm just going to open up like 200 mystery boxes for you guys. See if you get anything good.
No, bro, no one can hear you.
Use them before we lose them. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen.
Can you hear us now, Cam?
But yeah, I opened up like 200 mystery boxes for you guys after this.
So I'll give the mic to Fidgetal, and then I brought down Cam. You can bring him back up again.
I got like 2,000 points, so like 25 points a box. They say you can win up to $100 NFT.
Man, look where we are today, bro. Look where we are today, man. It's fucking insane.
Well, it's actually more interesting considering the other conversations that we've been in other spaces and kind of balancing what is bots, what is botting, what does that mean. So a bunch of interesting conversations we can have at a different time, and that was meant positively. I will say, I think I've
don't want to go back to work.
South Africans in this
space
have to get
that home business popping.
And as a fellow South African, I love to get the difference between.
When you fail on one thing, you don't stop. You keep going. We're going to the next. We're going to do some in-home stuff.
I've got to say that the most intriguing part of this entire last 56 hours has been, was it Wendy, who was the girl that put up that conspiracy theory to you the other day?
I'm not mentioning her name anymore, so I can't confirm or deny any assumption.
Crypto on pause.
It's in the recorded space if someone wants to listen to
I'm going to let you guys know
ours,
what's going on regardless.
Just out of
I'm
respect,
some money in there too.
I don't know if you were there, but if anyone was there, you would have seen she was receiving a lot of pressure. And pressure is a light word. As she was speaking, while she was speaking, later on you could start hearing her voice start to crack.
With the shit.
And you start feeling fear in her voice. And that's someone very respectful in the space for a long time. Then I start getting DMs of her
put it in there knowing, hey, I might lose all of this. So
it's just such a sad, it was such a sad thing, and we deleted the tweet, the initial tweet that was seen by like 1 million people.
Entertainment
purposes.
That's how.
It's all proving true, and I think one of the most important. And sorry to cut you off.
I love being interrupted. Go ahead, bro.
One of the most intriguing parts of all this, for me at least, I can tell that you're scaling. Your team is scaling. You're figuring out how to balance this incredible growth. But the growth is founded around one of the most important things I think that's happening right now is the convergence of fact and fiction. But it's all happening on crypto Twitter. Right, CZ,
everything's playing out on
all
Twitter
these founders.
right
first of all, Kraken.
These guys
just perfect example. I was with Kraken literally about 4 years ago, before they were anything, and they were begging for volume. Nothing personal to anybody. I love Kraken, but they were begging for volume. And here we are, 4 or 5 years later, where it's all converging on social media. Right, 6 months ago, CZ would never have shown up onto a stage to make a position. What this all tells us is not regulation. This is a confidence game.
Yeah,
giving
and
people
I'd also
billions of dollars
digital,
that don't know what to do with it.
It's important to recognize that we have
fresh
been
nerds straight out of school
move as close to
we got this great idea.
Information as possible.
Then
with
Crypto.com, just like FTX, he was following right behind them, doing the same thing, spending hundreds of millions on advertisement on the back of fortune cookies from the Chinese restaurant. It's FTX. They brought the dome. They brought the Crypto.com brought the arena in California. Last night I was watching the UFC. Everybody got the Crypto.com shirts.
Because there's no denying that, and we saw that with FTX. One of the first
just
signals
giving all that money
was that
away
they
for
were,
advertising.
aggressively selling other holdings.
Where's that money coming from, by the way?
FTT
I know where you say it's
so,
coming
I
from.
think if anyone has good on-chain analytics.
I just can't trust nobody who accidentally sends $1 billion.
Space because it can be verified.
That don't make sense.
Yeah, and I made a tweet.
You guys didn't know $1 billion was missing?
And tweet for any on-chain.
And then why do we have
analyst,
19% of our
we
holdings?
We do have a group where we can
Shiba.
verify all the claims on-chain.
We got more Shiba than Ethereum.
As we got all these reports.
We got Bitcoin, Shiba,
so I'll end with
and
this,
Ethereum.
which is actually probably the most important thing that we can take away from this entire conversation is blockchain is facts, but it doesn't mean the facts are facts.
Crypto.com.
Right? So we can manipulate the blockchain in the same way that we can manipulate information.
Since the beginning.
Be very careful to understand that I can manipulate information by putting it on chain in the same way that on chain can
and that's how I can cash it out and actually spend my tokens.
Quote unquote facts and information. So as we look at the quote unquote facts that are on chain, understand why facts are being put on chain. I think it's the most important thing we can do at the moment.
So I send my money from MetaMask to Crypto.com, and then I can sell, buy or sell, or hold them there. But I can transfer the money to my card. With this card, though, because I'm not staking anything with them, you only can do like $500 a day. So today I moved that $500 on there, which was the limit, and the ATM would pour out like 4. So
something
I put 50 in Pro just to see what happens. So I'm gonna show you guys that though.
Customer segregation of funds on crypto exchanges.
And just to Cam, just to explain it for the audience, customer segregation of funds.
Like
can you, in 1 or 2 sentences, what does that mean and why is that important enough to what happened with FTX? Just for the people that are not technical.
Free one that I started with.
Yeah, that's a great question.
So
essentially, meaning that just like a bank has to keep customer funds separate from any lending or investing accounts, a centralized exchange would have to do the same. And that basically just means that you can't turn customers' funds into a slush fund that you can gamble with like SBF was doing, right? That's number one. And number two, I think there's a lot of uncertainty right now in the regulatory environment. The thing that regulators are going to be able to go after SBF on the most is just the fact that he violated his own terms of service.
They breached all the contracts.
FTX's terms of service.
Did everything they said they weren't going to do.
Otherwise, there's really no laws on the books, that you can go after him if he hadn't done that. So that's really going to be.
And if FTX is any indication of what's going on with Crypto.com,
I don't know if you know the shit that he's done, Cam, if you've been keeping up, because it's fucking insane. I don't know if Chet or Alex, because there's been so much shit that we found out over the last couple of days. Or Umbrella, in like 1 minute, summarize for Cam the amount of fucking things that were illegal that were done.
Yeah, I can quick. So basically, obviously, FTX, basically CZ, the head of Binance, said he wasn't happy with how FTX is run. There has been a long-standing feud with CZ and SBF, who obviously the FTX CEO, and they voiced it on Twitter for the last year. You can see it to and fro. Then CZ said, I'm not happy with what's going on. He said, I'm selling your token, which I got as part of a buyout.
We don't control our own money.
SBF put out a tweet saying everything's fine at FTX.
So we got to trust them to do the right thing.
Everyone was looking on chain and saw some funny things going on.
Trust.
So a lot of people kind of were withdrawing their funds, hugely from FTX. There was huge arguments. Big YouTubers said, get your funds off FTX.
So that everybody says
there were big videos going around from Ran, from BitBoy, from the dev, all saying, this is a scam, you must get out. He obviously put a tweet post that there's nothing wrong with FTX.
They get a couple YouTubers to back them up.
Obviously, that wasn't the case.
Everybody jumps on that shit.
They stopped withdrawals, but they went radio silent. People couldn't withdraw, and then you only put out a tweet.
So talk about this.
I think it was 12 hours later. That there's a problem in FTX International, but FTX US completely solvent fine. He subsequently deleted that tweet. So for me, that looks complete fraud that he said, that. And then he filed for bankruptcy, Chapter 11 in the US, both FTX US as well as FTX International. I think it was plus minus 130 entities. So, and this was, the next day. Obviously, they were doing tomfoolery with their balances. then we think
I know we're
that's
lied to,
enough.
but
Obviously, one of the biggest exchanges.
then you start
folds.
realizing shit. Like I've been realizing shit for months and months.
We see
like,
the
I know this
FTX
is
wallet start moving
a
all
war
tokens.
zone.
$600 million
And I like it. It
got
excites
basically
me in
moved
here.
off FTX's token wallets.
But it's
They
not
said
for
on their
everybody.
Telegrams and Twitter that they've
Especially
been
not
hacked.
for the weak. And don't put no
and
house money
effectively,
in
that's
here
where we
and think
stand
you're gonna
today.
flip
We've
it.
even seen Alameda Research, which is the
This ain't
VC
no quick
arm
flip over here.
and the hedge fund
Especially if
arm
you
of
don't know what you're
FTX,
doing.
starting to move funds today. And it's all been a bit of a, I guess, a Netflix drama, and I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and then to add on to that, so we had the $600
A lot of
million.
us just buy coins and hope in a year or two they're
me
going
and
to be
Mario
worth more
were,
money, and that's how we
looking at
expect
it
to make
overnight.
money.
All of a sudden, Mario's like, let's start up the
We don't
space.
even know
started
about
up, we saw this
staking
transaction,
them,
it went
farming
from
them.
300 million to 400 to 500 to 600 million.
That's what I was doing.
There were multiple different
Grabbing these
signature
coins,
wallets
collecting
happening.
them,
There
staking
were
them,
multiple different
farming
wallets.
them, making
Some of them were regular.
making
Then there were
them
multi-sig wallets involved. It turns out later we
multiply.
find out, of course,
Like,
the
I'm
general
not just going to
counsel
sit there
from
and hold them.
FTX
We're going
comes
to make
out
them
and
work,
says, hey,
you know,
look,
make your money work.
these,
for me.
we're
About
seeing
making it work.
unauthorized transactions.
I started with a couple thousand. I got up to 10,000 a couple
CEO
times.
also confirms this a few hours
you don't
later.
get out early enough.
And they said that they had begun to quickly move
Up
the
6,
funds
down
to
5.
cold storage wallets to try to mitigate
Up
the effects.
8,
So it
down
appears
3.
that some of the 600 million,
Down
up
7.
to
Up 1,
200
like,
million of it potentially, was something that was taken back by FTX into cold storage wallets. And the other 400 million, or up to 600 million, and we don't know the exact numbers yet. Went
get in
to
some
the hacker.
long-term plays.
And then the hacker, of course, has been sitting on
long-term
quite a lot of
plays.
stuff. I'm sure Bella can talk about that a little bit more on the chain.
But I'm
then
DJing
beyond
as
that,
fuck.
we
I
found
love
out
jumping into
that
new
from
DeFi
Financial
projects
Times,
and stuff.
there was $10
They always start off so
billion
good.
of liabilities.
But I realized
on
you
their
got to get
sheets,
in and get
but
out.
only
You put $1,000 in there. As soon as you get 3,000, you take your 1,000 back out and run with it too.
And do you remember the one day? And do you remember
Especially
the one
the
that
first
had
day,
$2 billion on the
first
balance
week
sheet
sometimes.
of a
You see
token
the
that
chart
was
going up. As
worth
soon as you
80
see the
million?
buy start
80,
slowing
that
down,
2 billion.
that's a good
The
indication
Serum,
to sell.
Serum, that's the Serum one. Serum, there's a
Leave
token
some in
lost
there
by
just in
Sam.
case it flips
It was
back around.
the
but
market cap
usually
of the token was 80 million,
you ride
and
it
they
up
had
and
on their
boom.
balance sheet.
You can
That's
ride it up again
the
and
circulating
boom, if you
market
time
cap.
it right, you can make
And
some
on balance
money.
sheet, it was $2 billion worth of that
There's
token. I'll
easier
use many
ways.
more
I was doing it
examples.
the hard way.
Also, I don't know if this is true, but when they filed for bankruptcy, I had
But trying to learn how to trade in this market right now.
A tweet.
But that's why I'm doing it too.
Not a tweet.
So hard right
I
now.
have
Like,
got a report now,
if
so
it
I
does
got distracted.
recover,
I'll look at the report in a bit.
shit can't be
But
no
I
harder than
had
what's going
someone
on
credible
right
say
now.
that,
So
and
I'll
check
be
this
ready.
is
I'm
easy to
prepared.
verify, and maybe you have already or someone has. But when they filed for bankruptcy, they had 0 Bitcoin. Is that true?
That's correct. They had 0 Bitcoin is what came out from Financial Times, according on their balance sheet, even though they claimed that they had, I think billions, 2 billion, I think. So they have all those issues. Then they have on top of that the fact that they have the $5.4 billion that they've invested, Alameda and FTX Ventures, that invested into over 500 different crypto projects out there that now all will likely have to come back due to the massive hole between the assets and
moving the money out of
and I want to go quickly to Alex.
And I have to keep in mind one last
and I'll
thing.
wait till after all this. I'll come back on, but then after all this, I'll do
that combination of news, right, of the hack plus the other side. Well,
like 25 points a mystery box.
Asset,
so we get like 200 of them, see if we get anything good.
Before the bankruptcy happened, those documents
get something good out of 200. Let's see.
Technically, as of now, FTX
let's
would
see,
only
that's
have
bullshit too.
at maximum.
You got to move a lot of money around daily to stack them points.
$400 million of liquid.
Bro, I have a feeling that's gonna keep going down, man. I just have a feeling that as more information comes down, that $400 million, 300. That's insane. That's fucking crazy, bro. That's insane. I want to also go to Alex. Alex, just quickly, you sent us a message that the team verified that you. I'll read exactly what your message said, Alex. You said that. You'd love to come. I'm a former exchange executive and now the founder of a DeFi protocol. Have a bit of insight into the SEX game. SEX, for any audience members listening, is not what you think. Unfortunately, it's centralized exchange, as well as in the VC space. And then you say this: a big part of the FTX fiasco is the fundraising. VCs. So the VC aspect of this, with improper DD, which means due diligence for the audience, and herd mentality.
Unless you
is what I think is being overlooked. It added too much legitimacy into FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried as a person. And before you speak, Alex, the reason I brought you up, because we just get too many requests of people to speak. And Alex V, I want you to go through it as well. Go through the requests and tell me who I should bring up. But Alex S. Stris, sorry, I don't know how to say it, So, like, the statement that you made is so important. And as a person that invests in projects, and other VCs have collaborated this, we are responsible for that herd mentality. And let me tell you why. I'll admit. At IBC, so my company, we invested in projects. Many of them went to zero. Many went 95% plus down. We invested a lot of money, and the way we did it, because there were projects every day, dozens of projects coming across our desk, and projects were pumping 10x and more every day. 95% of projects when we did the study. In the bull one, we're pumping 10x or more as soon as they launch, including shit projects that we'd never look at usually. Okay, it's just so much money. So what we did as a way to because we can't keep up with the amount of projects, we're like, all right, let's follow the VCs we know we trust. I was considered one of the best ones, yes or no?
100%.
Exactly, bro. And Kyle is one of the biggest VCs in crypto. So all the VCs trusted Alameda, along with others. I'm not going to mention them because I don't want to put them. And 3 Hours Capital. Everyone trusted 3 Hours Capital as some of the top VCs. Okay.
100 million, 500 million, $1 billion. Like they, at the end they were just getting money from everybody, and people weren't even. They didn't even ask questions. They were just like, yeah, sure, bro, no problem. It'd be like your friend asking you to borrow $20. You wouldn't even question it. You'd just be like, yeah, whatever, here, because you know that they're good for it. But like
everybody,
and
they were big.
The audience, I just remember, I just realized the audience doesn't know this, guys. I know this, and for me, it's normal. Gaurav was here, and other VCs were here. That was the game, because it just became the space is so immature. We just had to trust someone, and these guys gained our trust. I don't know how the fuck they became trustworthy, but my whole company trusted these guys, and other VCs trusted them. So what happened is we would follow each other. So if one VC makes a mistake or does something nefarious by investing in a project or doing something, we trust them and followed suit.
Hit that bell notification so when I come back on,
then FTX is suddenly legitimized because of herd mentality, which happens
get back in here. You guys gotta hear this. They ain't playing around.
So Alex, I want you to kind of elaborate
Elon
on
might
this
jump
point,
back in here too. We might see what Mr. Musk got to say.
But Alex, I want you to elaborate on this point and
they're saying it's
anything
a
else you can
conspiracy
add from
theory.
your
They say him and the
experience with
president
FTX
says
and being the
this shit
executive of an
crazy.
exchange.
I'll be right back.